Hello. It's been a hot minute, and I'm glad you're here. I just want to let you know that I recently moved into this brand new studio, and right now it's the void, I must admit, because I'm still deciding on a background here. But I must say, I am very, very pleased to finally have a very quiet, very silent studio. And I must say, there is a difference when you have a dedicated space rather than a shared common area because you know it's yours. Now, what was my previous setup, I in many ways felt very uncomfortable because I'm in many ways a private person and I didn't really have control over that environment. In many ways, it felt extremely open. And though I'm sure there's many people that appreciate openness, it didn't allow me to highlight the personality that I want to be able to show you guys because it's a shared common space. There's compromises. There's many things I had to do in order to make that work. But here, I get to control everything. I have Void behind me. I have a new setup with a new desk and a more powerful PC. And I expect to be able to generate more content in the future. So that way, you guys would be able to capture it all. And that's my mini update for now. I plan to have more updates as time goes because, oh man, there's been so many changes since the last time I made a video. There's been DeepSeek R1, then the upgrade to DeepSeek. There's been Meta's mega flop, perhaps a meta flop. We've had Quen 3 come out and a lot of like open source models that are quite impressive. And we've also, experienced something interesting, I gotta say. I do some coding from time to time, and it's nice to have a AI assistant be able to help that. And so I actually had used two of them, OpenAI's GPT-03, and I also use Claude 4. But I noticed something with Claude 4 or Claude 3.7 or 3.5 this past year, which I'm sure everyone else has experienced, is that Anthropic has a dial that they turn when compute resources are running low, where the quality of the answers, aka the amount of time it takes for the answers to be computed, they turn way down. And the result of that is you get from one moment an incredibly detailed, highly precise answer, exactly what you need to achieve stuff. And the next time you file in the same prompt, the same question, just to see if you get the same answer. And it says, this conversation's context window has been exceeded. And it's your first message. And you know that Anthropic really can't handle the load. And it isn't just them. It's also been ChatGPT where there's been some inconsistent, what I would say is, quality dials that they've been turning as well. And you have to wonder if these providers, depending on load, because they're always implementing new features like their coding assistants and a bunch of other stuff, and they have to prioritize their super paid users versus their API users versus their pro plan users versus their standard tier, which I'm on the standard tier. And then you also have their free users. It really feels like sometimes free users and the standard tier get the short end of the staff. Or at least I'd like to say so until I realized the people on the $100 and $200 tier on Anthropic, particularly Anthropic, also get hit with the same dial of stupid. I'll put it that way. And it doesn't really provide you that consistency that you need. And that's the thing, is that everyone is using AI. Don't get me started on Gen Z using AI. Oh boy, they lost their critical thinking skills some time ago. And they use AI for everything, even stuff they really shouldn't have. In fact, I was just reading an article, going on a little side tangent here, where professors were actually prompt injecting into their homework so that if the students just copied the request and pasted into AI, the prompt injection would hijack the conversation and start outputting stuff that wasn't related to the assignment at all. And I find that very entertaining because the critical thinking skills that need to be developed, I admit, school does not develop that very well. In fact, they do everything possible to utterly destroy the critical thinking of students. However, occasionally they do allow critical thinking to thrive, and that's typically in essays and assignments. The very things students hate and loathe so much that they use AI to get past it. And as Asmongold once stated, oh, of course they would, because why not? You want to min max, you want to win. What they don't realize is that they're cheating themselves out of the one opportunity to actually, instead of turn into a memorization machine, because that's mostly what school is memorize this, output it on test, you're done, maybe reference it next semester or next course, maybe, until an opportunity actually use and engage the brain. And, I was absolutely blown away by how far Gen Z goes to not use their brain, where you have a conversation and you state a fact from NASA and they use ChatGPT and ChatGPT says, that's not true. And they take ChatGPT's word over NASA. And you really have to think here. They're not thinking. They turned their brain off long ago. And that discernment is gone. And that's really disturbing because even though I use AI all the time and I use it to help improve the work that I do and the life that I do, you also need discernment because AI will lie to you in the most benign or psychopathic way. It lies all the time, and it will butter you up with lies. I'll give an example. Recently, a lot of the prompts I've been using when I want to get alternative thoughts is I'll ask the AI assistants to be brutal in their assessment. And normally, their brutality is quite perceptive, I might add. But occasionally, their brutality is not anything but praise for the decisions that I make. And if I'm asking for a check and I'm asking for it to be brutal in an attempt to bypass AI's insistence that anything you put in is clearly the next work of God, which, trust me, I put in some really dumb stuff. And believe me, the AI sings my praises. And I wonder, like, what acid trip did it step off? Because I know clearly that stuff was just not intelligent and it praises you. It really tries to butter you up. And it's just, no, AI lies. And if you don't have that discernment to know that's a lie, by having enough experience and critical thinking to say, no, that's not going to work, we need to try a different approach, then AI in many ways is going to well, I'm not saying that people are already not using their brains, but it's going to encourage further non-brain use. Yeah, I gotta say that at least for the jobs that will remain, will require people to use their brain. And if you have a whole generation of people coming up that don't use their brain, then employability for those who do is going to remain very high. I know I went all over the place, just so much on my mind as of late. But I hope that this serves as a nice interim welcome back video, and I plan to pump out more because, yes, I have the new studio. I'm in the void, and I'll see you next time. This is James McCorn, signing off.